Okay, so where do we get conscious information about movements of our body parts? Okay, so our usual receptor systems. One is muscle spindles. Okay, we're going to get information that reaches consciousness from our muscle spindles. All right, so what is some information that indicates that that's the case? Let's go out of order here. Oops. Okay, so one set of information, this is kind of anecdotal. They've had patients that they're operating on, and what they've done is while they're in the midst of an operation, they'll pull on the tendons. Okay, they're going to do something, ankle or knee, joint repair, whatever, and they'll pull on the tendons. Okay, and that's stretching the muscles, right? So what would you think that people perceive consciously? I mean, you could perceive stretch, right? That's kind of an obvious thing you'd think. That, I mean, if you're pulling on the tendon, you're stretching the muscles, you're stimulating muscle receptors, well, you just have this generalized sense or perception of muscle stretch. What people do, or what they perceive when you pull on their tendons, is joint rotation. Okay, or you're perceiving movement. Joint rotation obviously is associated with movement. So even though you're stimulating, even though you're stimulating the spindles, you're perceiving joint rotation, not just a generalized muscle stretch. Okay, so that is evidence, or is taken as evidence, that muscle spindles contribute to the conscious awareness of movement. Okay, so that makes sense. People with prosthetic devices like artificial hips or artificial knees still perceive or accurately perceive joint rotation. So obviously they don't have joint receptors because they have a plastic joint, right? So what are possible sources of information about joint receptors? One is going to be obviously the tendons that are tied to the artificial joint, which by extension then are connected with muscle spindles. Okay, so that's another piece of information that muscle spindles contribute to the conscious awareness of movement.